Right. I'd like now to talk about something I saw on the television the other week, which was Newsnight, and it was Russell Brand being interviewed by Jeremy Paxman. This caused a lot of controversy. Mr. Brand called for a revolution, and he was thoroughly castigated by the right-wing press and so on for doing so. Now, I know who Russell Brand is, but I've never seen any of his comedy performances because I don't really like comedy all that much. The reason is I don't find it very funny, because in this society, everything's so weird anyway. How can you make fun of it? How can you make fun of the fact that last week when George was christened, they had a photograph of the Queen, the present monarch, the Prince Charles, the next one, William, the one after that, and George, and they're actually saying, oh, you know, these are our next leaders and so on, and 16-page supplement in the Daily Mail and so forth. I mean, you can't make up jokes about it. The whole bloody thing's a joke, isn't it? But anyway, let's get back to Russell Brand. Now, I don't really know much about the geezer. I do know that he is not a toff, and he hasn't been to Eton, and he hasn't been privately educated, and that he's like, if you like, one of us, because he's from like a proletarian background. A great rarity in this day and age, particularly in the media and the music and entertainment industry, where everybody seems to be a toff. But he's not a toff, so he is one of us. And he's also, as well, got a track record of turning up for demonstrations. For example, he was at the G20 demonstration outside the Bank of England when the police brutally murdered somebody. He was there, and again he was castigated in the press for it and so on, but he was there, and as far as I'm concerned, anybody that was there is one of us. But then again, there are other things to be thinking about the man. He might be one of us, but what about this stuff with Jonathan Toss on the television, taking the piss out of somebody that he'd had sex with and so on, and being like quite vile about it and creepy? It's not very good, Russell, is it? And the fact that he lives in a multi-million-pound mansion in Hollywood, but we'll kind of forget about all that, and we'll kind of forget about him hobnobbing with royalty, which he has done. Now, he may or may not have taken the piss out of it, but did he spit in the Queen's eye? Did he spit in Prince Charles's eye? He did not. Did he bow in front of them? I don't know, but he was presented with him, and I have seen photographs of him shaking Charles's hand. So he can't be that much of a radical, can he? Because anybody worth their salt, if they had the opportunity, smack the guy straight in the puss, wouldn't they? And that would be absolutely funny. And remember what happened a couple of years ago when he was attacked by the London mob. I think that's the sort of reaction we should give to the royals. But hey, when you're the court jester, which is what I think he is, because he had a brilliant opportunity to speak for us. The people like me and the people that are listening to this, and all the kids and everybody we know that's really angry and wants revolution and so on, will never get the chance to be interviewed by Paxman. Well, why the hell would we anyway? But just for the sake of it, we wouldn't. Now, I'd already seen Mr. Brand on Question Time, and I think he acquitted himself quite well, although the article he wrote in The Guardian about it was absolute rubbish about Melanie Phillips and her gorgeous brown eyes. Didn't mention her extreme right-wing politics all that much, did he? But anyway, there he was. He had his opportunity, and a lot of people were going, oh, he put on a really good performance there, but I actually think that he completely fluffed it. You know, the golden opportunity, and he fluffed it. All right, why did he fluff it? Well, first of all, Paxman, who's not used to interviewing human beings, but rather politicians and people of power and so forth, who he is sometimes quite rude to, sometimes quite obsequious to, but he usually gives them a grilling. But when he faces somebody ordinary, like Russell Brand or even Tommy Robinson, the guy just don't... He's tongue-tied. He can't say anything. And Tommy Robinson the other week made mincemeat. He just talked over him, and you know, Paxman just sat back, looking exasperated, and allowed him to get on with it, which was probably Paxman's mistake. With Russell Brand, I could see that Paxman was really ill at ease, And it was a bit like a naughty schoolboy in front of the headmaster, Paxman being the headmaster. And Paxman was saying, well, you know, if you don't vote, then you have no input into politics and so on. But Brand, you know, really didn't take him up and didn't say to him, well, you know, what's the point of voting in that if you voted Conservative and the Labour get in, then your vote's wasted. And if you voted Liberal Democrat, your vote's wasted anyway, because although you're in the government, you don't want to be in government with the Conservatives. There's 1,000 reasons you could give for not voting. Many of them revolutionary, a lot of them completely common sense, and a reason why a lot of us don't vote or don't want anything to do with it. But I really do think that he fluffed his lines. And he was more interested in having a go at Jeremy because of his beard and so on. I think if any of us are on the telly, we wouldn't be going on about Jeremy's beard or anything like that. And another thing as well, I noticed that he never criticised royalty to anything like that. He wasn't rude about royalty because he never even mentioned them and so on. Didn't say that they should be eliminated, that they should be executed, anything really outrageous like that, did he? So no, I don't think it was very good at all. There was no anger. He was behaving like a court jester. And we don't need court jesters. We've got enough of them. He had a unique opportunity to speak up for us and, you know, to articulate what we think, and shocking as it may have been. But I really do believe that he fluffed it. And where he really fluffed it was when he talked about revolution. All right, maybe he gave a good explanation in some eyes as why you shouldn't vote and so on. I didn't find it very convincing. I found it rather childish, actually. But when it comes to revolution, Paxman said, well, you know, what's your revolution going to do? You know, how is it going to come about? You know, in his arrogant tone. And Russell Brand just said, oh, well, revolution, well, we will tax the conglomerates to the hilt. Make them pay their taxes, make the rich pay their taxes. That is not revolution. Revolution is doing away with the rich, it's doing away with the conglomerates. And he should have said, which any intelligent, angry 17-year-old would have said, he should have said, revolution, Jeremy, as he kept calling, I'd have called him Paxman, you know. Revolution, Paxman, this is what it is what you see on the television every day with millions of people pouring out onto the streets like they have in Brazil, like they have in Egypt, like they're doing all over the world, occupying buildings and factories, you know, having assemblies on the streets, entirely spontaneous, breaking down alienation, clashing with the forces of law and order, getting ready to overthrow the government and so forth, to create a new society from nothing, complete blindness, going for it. That's what revolution is, or that's what the beginning of revolution is. Mr. Brand failed utterly to say what this is. But then again, maybe if you're hanging around with the likes of Jemima Khan, you don't want to scare too many people about it. Maybe he is genuine. I think to a degree he is. I think he might be a bit confused. If I was talking about revolution and living in a palatial mansion in Hollywood, I might also be a bit confused. Maybe I'm confused anyway. Maybe we're all confused. But what I'm saying, he had the golden opportunity and he fluffed it. Far from thinking, as a lot of people say, that he should be defended because he did a really good job. I think he did a really crap job. And you never really get the opportunity. None of us will ever get the opportunity. Sure, we probably fluff it as well. But remember, he's a professional comedian. He's a media star. He knows how to articulate himself. Probably rehearses everything. There's probably very little spontaneous about him. But even so, he didn't do it. So I would say that was a definite 1 star. If you give a 5-star performance, I think on Question Time he gave a 2-star performance, a very harsh marker. But on the Paxman thing, that was definitely a 1-star performance, or maybe even half a star performance. So yeah, next time you see Prince Charles, Russell, baby, gob in his face. Remember the Sex Pistols when they were interviewed by Grundy and what they did and the outrage that they caused and punk burst onto the scene after that, became absolutely the talking spot of everybody at work the next day. That was an impact. I'm afraid that the Paxman interview was dull and boring and, quite honestly, embarrassing to watch. So, Russell, darling, get your act together. Next time, do something mental. And don't just sit there like a stuffed dummy and being like a court jester. And next time you're introduced to a member of the royal family, punch them in the face. Yeah, you might get nicked. Yeah, you might end up on trial and so on. But there's a lot of us that give our right answer a chance to smack Prince Charles in the face, or to headbutt William, or to spit in the Queen's face, right? So next time you're up before the royals, don't just giggle about it on a television show later on, but do it.